Hello, welcome to Spanish Touch. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the difference between ser and estar, the verb to be in English. To be or not to be? Okay, first of all, we need to learn some of the pronouns in Spanish. Pronouns are essentially I, you, he, she, or it, we, you plural, and they. So in Spanish, conjugating or forming the verb ser, we are going to use this column. And to conjugate or form the verb estar, we're going to use this column. Now what's the difference between ser and estar? I've drawn here the tree trunk because the difference between ser and estar is that ser is usually something permanent, something built, ingrained into you. For example, your nationality, where you're from, how tall are you, what is your hair color, these things. So this is something that doesn't change, it's very strong and it's permanent. Whereas here I've drawn the leaves of a tree. Now leaves fall and they change through the spring and the summer. So here, this is something which is non-permanent, which changes from time to time. Let's take the first adjective here, médico. Médico is doctor in English. Now, being a doctor, is that something permanent or non-permanent? It's a profession, so it's permanent, okay? Here we're going to use the verb ser, not estar. Okay, so if I wanted to say I'm a doctor, in Spanish this would be yo soy médico. Yo soy médico, okay? Now, that's the adjective médico ticked off. The next adjective is la una. Can you guess what this means? It means really, it is one. In English we might say, what time is it? It's one. Okay, in Spanish, this is something permanent or non-permanent. Referring to the time doesn't change. We have 24 hours in a day. Okay, so here we would use the verb ser. Okay, now remember, we also have he, she, or it. Now, he is él, she is ella, but we don't have it in Spanish, so we don't need the pronoun. We would just say es la una. It is 1 o'clock. Okay, it is 1 o'clock. In English, you could also translate it to it is 1. Next, we have alto. Alto. Alto means tall. Now, is this something that you can change? Is it permanent or non-permanent? Good, it's permanent, okay? It's a characteristic you cannot change. If you're tall, you're tall, okay? Basketball players are really tall, so therefore we're going to use ser, okay? If I want to say you are tall in Spanish, we would say tú eres. Very good. Tú eres alto. Now, remember, these two here, médico and alto, doctor and tall, they can change. If we're talking about a girl or a woman, we would change the O to an A, okay? Soy médica. I'm a doctor. We know it's going to be a woman. Okay, and if we say eres alta, we're talking about the same thing. Okay, next, cansado. Cansado. In English, tired, okay? Next we have cansado. Cansado means tired in English, okay? So, do you think this is something permanent or non-permanent? Non-permanent. So we're going to be using the verb estar, okay? If I want to say I am tired in Spanish, I would say yo estoy cansado. And remember, if you are a girl or a woman, you would say cansada. Cansada. Very good. Okay, next we have frío. Frío means cold. Okay, if you are cold, do you think this is permanent or non-permanent? Very good, we're using estar again. So if we want to say, for example, my hands are cold, I need to warm them up. So we would say, ellos están frías. Frías. But why are we using the A instead of the O? Because hands in Spanish is feminine. Okay, we use the feminine A, okay, when we talk about adjectives. Okay, so frío. Next we have hombre. Okay, hombre in Spanish is man. Okay, hombre, ¿qué pasa? So hombre is permanent or non-permanent? Of course, it is permanent. Nosotros somos hombres. Why do we have the S? Because it's plural, okay? Just like with the hands, it's plural, so we add the S. Next we have feliz. Feliz in English means happy, okay? Now it's a mood, it might be an emotion, how you're feeling in one given second or given moment. Permanent or non-permanent? Estar, non-permanent. If we want to say he is happy or she is happy, we would say él or ella está feliz. Feliz, okay? He, she is happy. What about quite the opposite? Sad, okay? If we're feeling sad, we are triste, okay? Triste. If we are sad, nosotros estamos triste. Is that okay like that? We're missing one letter. Nosotros estamos, more than one, we're a group, or two people, tristes, okay? We can't forget about the S. Okay, next we have mi casa. Mi casa. In English, my house, okay? Mi casa es su casa. Now imagine that a group of you are in the house together, okay? Two or more people. I could say, you are in the house. Vosotros estáis en, now imagine it was my house. En mi casa, my house. We're going to use inglés with the last three. Inglés, you guessed it, it means English. Okay, now, imagine that you're an English person. Is it permanent or is it non-permanent? It's something you can't change. Therefore, it is ser. We're going to use the verb ser. Now, imagine that there's more than one of you. So we're going to use ser. Now, ser with vosotros sois inglés. We're not going to leave it at that. We're missing two letters. Ingleses. Why? Because it's plural. And if it ends in S, you add ES. Okay? Ingleses. Now, if it's they are English, it is ellos son. Exactly the same. Ingleses. Ellos son ingleses. They are English. Now, what about estar? I did say we're going to use inglés with the verb estar. Inglés with you are. Tú estás. Now, imagine that you're feeling very English. In England, we like to have lots of tea. Okay, now maybe a person is not from England, but they're wearing maybe some English clothing, yeah? Or they're sipping on tea, or they're having some lunchtime sandwiches and scones, whatever. So you could say you're very English today. In Spanish, you could say, tú estás muy. Now, if you remember from the last class, muy means very, okay? Tú estás muy inglés. English, you're very English, okay? Sipping on your tea. Okay, that's all today about the verb to be, ser and estar in Spanish. Now remember, you're not getting away lightly here. We're going to finish off with some exercises and see what you remembered from today's class. Okay, do you remember what I am tall is in Spanish? Soy alto. But remember, if you're a woman or a girl, it would be soy alta. How do you say it's 1 or it is 1 o'clock in Spanish? Es la una. Es la una. How would you say they are English? Ellos son. Ingleses. Very good. And if you remember to include the es at the end, fantastic. Ingleses. How do we say I'm tired? Yo estoy cansado or cansada if you're a woman or a girl. How would you say in Spanish, you are in my home or you are in my house? Vosotros estáis en mi casa. Vosotros estáis en mi casa. Okay, now, how do you say they are cold in Spanish? Maybe you're referring to your hands. Talking about hands, están frías because it's feminine. If you wanted to use something masculine, you could say los tomates. The tomatoes are cold. Maybe you've just taken them out of the fridge. They are cold. Están fríos. Los tomates, the tomatoes. Okay guys, I hope you liked the video. Leave a like, subscribe, and share the video with anybody who you think it's time they learn some Spanish with Spanish Touch. Ciao for now.